Hey there. I wanted to offer an example of how the 7 skills, the 7 relationship skills, like these major mama skills of love that I've been talking about lately, how they flow together, how they work together. So like how they're not totally separate, right? Women come to me, obviously, wanting more emotional and physical intimacy with their partner, of course. And one of many of the approaches I suggest is to just ask for the closeness that they want. And this isn't always happening. This seems obvious, but it isn't happening in a lot of relationships. And asking for that closeness, for example, like in the form of just a hug, something that simple, asking for a hug. And it just isn't, for many of us, it just isn't as simple as it sounds, because asking for that intimacy can actually feel hard. It can feel scary because it requires vulnerability, right? And vulnerability just inherently feels uncomfortable. And I know for me, I used to complain or withdraw when my man didn't just naturally give his affection because it felt safer to complain or to close down than being vulnerable, than showing up and asking, in an open-hearted way. But obviously, complaining didn't work to get me the results that I wanted. So asking in this way is a vulnerable act, and so therefore it takes courage and a willingness to hear a no, like a willingness to possibly be rejected, right? To feel sad, to feel hurt. But the thing is that when we feel secure enough in our own selves to know that we can totally handle those feelings of rejection or sadness or hurt, that's when we feel safer to go ahead and ask. So it's so essential to start to feel secure that we can in ourselves enough to know that we can handle feelings. And also it helps to understand that our partner can say yes or no, and that it has nothing to do with whether we're lovable or not. It has only to do with what he's going through in the moment, perhaps, or in general, or if he's in a place to be able to access love and intimacy himself, right? So here's what I suggest is to ask from that place of courage and being willing to feel vulnerable and all those feelings that might come up, is to simply ask, would you be willing to hold me for a minute? That would be so nice. Do you see how inviting that is? How simple? But also it requires this openness. Now those words that I just spoke, they're really effective, but they're just like, if you saw my little love tree, my love skill tree, those words are just like the leaves or the fruits on the tree, right? It's not where they're coming from. Where it's coming from is this courage, this inner security, this willingness to handle your own feelings, this self-ownership, this willingness to allow him to be him. So many of those skills that I talk about are right here behind this little phrase of, would you be willing to hold me? So those skills are so important just to be able to say such a thing, right? So if you are interested in hearing more about these skills, if you want your own copy to see what are these skills and how are they connected, those links to download your own copy of the tree and to get access to the 7 most powerful phrases that deepen connection in your marriage. So I hope that's helpful, and I would love to hear from you about what you learn from these phrases and these skills.